It's time for
DodgerHeads.
high fly ball into right field. Dodgers have won it all in 2020. Shohei Ohtani, 50-50 club. Strikes him out. There's a drive. Shohei Ohtani. Freeman hits the ball. She is gone. Birthday party, Los Angeles. Your Dodgers have won the World Series.
Hey everyone, welcome into DodgerHeads, presented by DodgerBlue.com. I'm your host, Blake Williams, and we're joined today by Daniel Starkand. Not much to get into about this game. Pretty straightforward, Dodgers up 2-0 in the series now. So how are you feeling after that one?
I don't know why. I still feel nervous. I still feel like, Dave's going to break Blake Treinen to get the last out or something. But, man, that was quite a game. And as it looked like it was going to be a disaster, but it's nice to be able to get mad at Dave Roberts and question his decisions when it comes after a win, as opposed to, blowing a game that you had in hand. So, hey, we'll take it.
Yeah, so that game, it looked like it was going to be pretty straightforward and not a ton to talk about besides for the starting pitching. And then gets to the 8th inning and the Phillies add on a run there. And then Dave Roberts goes to Blake Treinen, and that's probably going to end up being the majority of our show right there, what we're talking about. So we'll get into all that. We'll start. We got a lot of super chats here. The first was from Jedi Engineer. This is exactly what I feared from Blake entering the game in the 9th. Glad we pulled it out. I swear this pen is trying to give us a heart attack. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why Dave Roberts has only used his bullpen I think they've recorded 1 or 2 outs in this entire series, or going back to the wild card series as well. So, the bullpen is a mess right now. The good thing is they have some starters that have helped figure things out and stabilize the bullpen for them. But yeah, the pure relievers are just a mess right now. I assume you don't have any different takes on that one.
Yeah, I will say, that guy said, this is what I feared with Treinen. My fear with Treinen was that he was going to come in not throwing strikes, because that's kind of what we've seen a lot from him down the stretch of the season. So I was just like, don't walk the first 2 guys and then give up the 1 hit or whatever. Let's just come in throwing strikes. And he was throwing strikes, but just not good ones. So yeah, I mean, we could get into it more, but I don't think anyone is sitting here saying going to Treinen in that spot was a good decision. That was insane.
Yeah, I think a lot of the super chats are going to be telling us how terrible Treinen is. So this one from 300 GJW. Appreciate the very generous donation here.
Hey.
He says, yeah, here's my problem. If you're willing to pitch Sasaki there, why not start the inning? I don't ever say fire Dave, but losing this game and going on to lose the series would be justifiable. Horrible decision. Quit throwing knuckle curves, Tommy. Yeah, I mean, Freddie bailed out Tommy there at the end, so that was really great to see. The Treinen and Roki decision, I don't know. That's just Dave trusting his guys. I don't think there's anything more to it, but hopefully this was kind of the last test for Treinen before he says, you're not a reliable option. And if that's the case, then I think we can kind of take away some positive from this and say they won a game when it was Treinen's last appearance, and now we don't have to see him again. So hopefully that ends up being the case there.
Yeah. I mean, I understand the concept of trying to get Treinen right, but to me, the time to do it is when you're up by 7 at home or something, not, a 3-run game in the 9th inning on the road. That's not the get right time. That's the let's get 3 outs and get on a plane home time. So I agree with this comment here. Again, thank you for the super chat. If you're willing to pitch Sasaki, why not just give him the 9th? Me personally, I would have stuck with Sheehan. He looked good. You have a 3-run lead, have someone warm, of course. And if things, aren't going well, then you make a change. But I would have, Sheehan was throwing the ball really well. I know he gave up 1 run the inning before, but then he battled back and got Schwarber and Harper, in big spots there. So I would have stuck with him. But if you were going to make a change there, to me, why are we not just going to Roki? He's been nails. He's clearly outside of the starters turn relievers, which he technically is too, I trust him the most down there.
Yeah, I think my only defense of not going to Roki is you still basically are hoping to have a month of playoff games, and you don't want to tire Roki out. So if you can go to someone else with a 3-run lead in the 9th inning and squeak that one out, then like it's justifiable. And I get it if that's what he's trying to do. Like Roki has not pitched a lot as a reliever. He's only done 2 and 3 days once so far in his career. So like from that aspect of it, it makes sense. But then my counter to like that defense of it is, why not just leave Emmet Sheehan while he's dealing? So like I thought they should have just left in Emmet there, but Dave wanted to go to one of his guys and see if he could get the job done, and he failed. So hopefully that's the end of that and we don't see it again.
Yeah, like you said, like if there is one silver lining to take from it, like, at least Dave got this out of the way, and hopefully, he learned from it, and we don't see Treinen in there in a big spot again, moving forward. And you came away with a win. We haven't even mentioned the fact that we're coming home up 2-0, which, as crazy as things have gone in the 2 games, to be up 2-0 is a damn good spot right now. So yeah, not ideal, but it is a silver lining that at least it happened in a win, and now we know, like, hey, Treinen could not be trusted at this moment in time.
Yeah, I mean, the Dodgers are 4-0 in the playoffs right now, and all the super chats are just about how bad Blake Treinen is. Like, overall, things are going pretty well here.
He's tried to blow 2 or 3 of those games, so the fact that they're undefeated is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I get it. Like, fans have every right to be mad. Bacon Tree. Add us another one. You had a month of Treinen being bad. You can go up 2-0. You go to who's actually doing the job, Roki. Also, Tommy, make a better throw. Yeah, Tommy, he's playing injured.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if he ends up having surgery or something in the offseason, because, but I don't know. He probably shouldn't be in there for the time being because he looked a bit overmatched at the plate as well.
Yeah.
So,
and we were talking about this, like, we'll get to the rest of the game at some point here, but earlier in the game when Muncy ended up hitting for Rojas, like, I would have, and I'm pretty sure you were on board with this too, I would have preferred him hitting for Edman there. And then Rojas shifts over to second. He's healthy. He's a better defender right now. So yeah, I mean, we all love Tommy Edman, but he's clearly, not healthy right now. He barely played in, the last couple months, was on and off the IL. So Miggy Rowe's been great all year, and we know he's a great defender. And I know he had a sketchy one too, where he tried to beat Trey to the bag, but he got the out there. So me personally, I would have pinch hit Muncy for Tommy and whatever, that 6th or 7th inning, whatever it was, and then you could have had Rojas at second. But hey, credit to Freddie there. That's a great play there with the game on the line.
Yeah, I'm going to run through all these Treinen ones so that we can get to other super chats without just spending the entire show talking about Treinen. So Robert says we're done with the Treinen experiment. Hopefully Dave has learned from that. I mean, we'll see. I have doubts. Aaron said, agreed, Blake. Now we know Treinen isn't it, and at least we still won. Dave won't make this mistake again, at least I hope. Yeah, same thing we've been saying. Yeah, hope. So this one, positive. Treinen actually made some good pitches. Credit to the Phillies. I kind of agree.
He was throwing strikes, but I don't they were able to get their bat on him. Like, it wasn't like he had, swing and miss stuff. And yeah, like that Castellanos hit was pretty lucky. He just kind of threw his bat at it, but when you're not missing bats, that's kind of what you open yourself up to happen.
Yeah, that's my takeaway. Like, the one to Castellanos probably wouldn't have been a hit in most circumstances. But like you said, if you're not missing bats, these are the kind of things that happen. And Treinen's not missing bats right now. He's pitching poorly. I think it was the second batter he faced. He left a 93-mile-per-hour fastball right over the middle of the plate, and it ended up being a strike. But that's the kind of stuff you look back on and you're like, wow, that could have been a lot worse. So
yeah,
I think things kind of evened out a little there for him.
Sure.
Ravens Moreland said hits off Treinen were good out of the strike zone, but after 2 games of elite pitches, good looks very hittable. Yeah, kind of just what we were talking about there.
Yeah.
Any more Treinen ones? I think that's it, unless I missed one.
I'm sure there will be more throughout the show.
There's still a lot of, So Lucas said, I love baseball, but I hate October. Blood pressure rises. Yeah, I think I've learned to manage it pretty well, especially like working in it. You got to be like ready for anything and kind of manage all that to get stuff out quickly. But yeah, October baseball is a lot more fun and it always raises the energy.
I guess the wild card series kind of got us prepared for this because like the Dodgers kind of had big leads in those games, but we still felt the stress all the way down to the end because of this bullpen. So yeah, I mean, this time of year is definitely not for the weak.
Yeah. So lots of super chats here. Okay, here. Do or do not. There is no Treinen. Yoda reference for our non-Star Wars watchers here. Would you have gotten that reference if I didn't tell you?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
The only time I watched Star Wars was with you in Arizona, and I think I fell asleep like 30 minutes in. So
I think I had Revenge of the Sith on. Best one. You just terrible. Ivan says, hate how much Doc stays with his, no matter how dog they are. But overall, also Miggy needs to stop with the hero ball, make the easy throw. I mean, yeah, that play with Miguel Rojas diving into third base there instead of just going to second or first. What did you make of that?
I think obviously now, knowing he should have gone to first, I think he probably didn't realize it was Trey at second, because if that's anyone else at second base, like he just cruises to third. It's an easy play. And obviously when you're throwing across the diamond, things could go wrong there, even though they are professionals. But if he had known that it was Trey there, hustling, I'm guessing he would have gone to first, just gone with the less risky play. But hey, he got the out, so I'm not going to sit here and complain too much.
Yeah, that's kind of how I landed on it. I thought it was fun and gritty, like the tweet about, but probably was not the smart play to make there. Got some more Treinen stuff coming in. Let's not have Treinen close until we have a 15-run lead. That one's from Charlie. Thank you there. I think we both agree with that one.
Yeah.
And then Peyton said, what was Roberts thinking? Treinen to the ninth this season is a horrible idea. They've made this unnecessarily stressful. I can't argue with that.
Yeah, true. I mean, we never know what would have happened if, let's say, Sheehan stayed in or they go to Roki, but I think we have more trust in those guys. So I would take my chances with them over Treinen right now.
Another one. Nail biter. Yamamoto starting game 3 is nice. Why was Treinen pitching in the save situation? I heard he wasn't great in regular season. Thank you. Thanks, Sasaki. Yes, Treinen was very, very bad in the regular season, especially to close it out there. He spent a lot of the year hurt as well. Going back to last year, he was arguably their best reliever, so Dave Roberts has trusted him. And to be honest, he's been one of the best relievers in baseball when he's healthy over the last, 4 or 5 years now, since 2020. So, like, Dave Roberts is trusting him, trusting his guy. I hope Dave Roberts has seen now that he can't do that anymore and moves on from that experiment. But, yeah, I mean, Roki's the guy.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, like I understand the concept of trying to get your guy right, just knowing that we got, 2 more rounds and you're going to need to get big outs. But to me, like a 3-run lead in the 9th on the road is just not the spot to do that. Like I was saying, if we're at home up 6 or 7, by all means. But right now, you got to lock down that win, come back home 2-0, and it's not the time to try to, get guys right.
To talk about Roki for a second here, like I know that Treinen stuff is awful and you want to just see Roki come in and close it out, but could that be beneficial for Roki moving forward? Like he comes into a tough jam there, needing 1 out, 2 runners on, game on the line, and he gets the out there. Like that's got to build some confidence for him too. After the last game, he just got to save also.
Yeah. I mean, it's not. I know he pitched in Japan in the World Baseball Classic, but I would say, especially on the road in Philly, like this is the biggest stage that he's pitched on, and he's looked absolutely, unfazed in both of these games. And yeah, like you said, like he gets the save in game 1, but that was a clean inning, bottom of the order, looked great, of course, but it wasn't really, pressure filled the way that this one was, where it's top of the order, tying run on third, and he was just unfazed. So yeah, that's definitely a confidence booster. I guess, like you said, the only concern is, he hasn't pitched this many times in a short, amount of a time, but another off day tomorrow, I would assume, he only threw 2 pitches tonight. So he should be good to go for game 3. And hopefully if it's another save situation, they're just not fooling around and going right to Roki.
Yeah. Even if it's not a save situation, might just want Roki there to close it out and the series right there. But yeah, Ray says Roki for the 9th. Don't want to hear anything else. I agree. I mean, if you told me 2 weeks ago Roki would be the best reliever in this bullpen, I would have called you like insane, crazy, coping.
I would
Like,
say, yeah, I would say, what alternate universe are we in?
yeah, but him turning it around, fixing his issues, working through everything, gaining confidence, like it's been huge for this team. And I think now at the end of the regular season, I think most people were probably skeptical, just given the bullpen, if the Dodgers could win the World Series again. And now with Roki stepping up and potentially Emmet Sheehan and maybe one of the lefties or two of them, like you kind of start to see how the path lays out, and they might be the World Series favorites again right now.
Yeah, and we could talk about Sheehan as well, just because, you know, he wasn't exactly great in the wild card round, and they kind of threw him back into the fire the same way they did Treinen. Like, David gave him another opportunity, and he made the most of it. Like, he looked great. He was pounding the zone. You know, like I said, he got himself into that one jam in the 8th inning, but he went straight after Schwarber and Harper, which, you know, tip of the cap. That was incredible, and now he's clearly climbing up the trust tree. You know, hopefully, yeah, I feel like with him, the stuff is really good. It's just like our nerves hitting him. Is he, you know, pounding the zone? And tonight he was, you know, cool as a cucumber.
Yeah, Jonathan says he died when Tommy Edman mounts the ball. Super chat for Evan. Thank you for getting that one into us. I don't know how Heaven works with YouTube and processing bank payments and all that. So glad you got that one figured out. Shay Riff says Robert's Achilles heel has always been trusting his guys too much and not knowing when to ride the hot hand. 2-0 is 2-0 though. Thank God for Freddie. I mean, I tweeted about this one. I think it's both a blessing and a curse for Dave Roberts that he's sticking with guys always, because sometimes we see it turn around and then sometimes it takes too long like this. Thankfully, it hasn't cost them so far in the postseason, but yeah, I mean, this is also part of the reason why just players love playing for Dave Roberts. He's going to continue to back them and show support in them. So, I mean, how do you think of it? Like, do you think it's more of a bad thing or more of a good thing in general?
I'm with you. Like, I think most of the time it's a good thing. Like, that's why, you know, Dave has been able to maintain, you know, such a great clubhouse all these years. And that's why we've seen guys come through time and time again in October. Like Kike, for example, like, you know, he's not going to do much in the regular season, but Dave Roberts sticks with his guys, and Kike's been in the lineup. And today was another example where I know he didn't exactly crush the ball, but he drove in that first run. So, yeah, I see both sides of it. Like, you know, it's tough because if Treinen comes out and, you know, strikes out 2 and has a 1-2-3 inning tonight, maybe we're talking about how maybe we're giving credit to Dave for sticking with his guys, and now we have another high leverage arm that we can maybe trust moving forward. So it is a tough balance for sure. I would just say, like, you know, when it's time to go for the throat, like, let's, you know, like this comment says, let's ride the hot hand there. Like, that's not the time to experiment or hope to get a guy right. Like, I feel like you just need to know the time and situation.
Yeah, the time and the place thing, I think, is the key here, because, I mean, early in the season, a lot of fans were talking about how they wanted Max Muncy replaced and get Nolan Arenado, who ended up having an awful year. Max Muncy was very good. Andy Pages, kind of the same thing here. Seemed like they were maybe a day or two away from optioning him, but they kind of stuck with him, and he really turned things around. I know he hasn't been great in the playoffs so far, but like, those are the kind of things Dave Roberts is going to give guys chances to figure things out, and he's going to, as he says, bet on the back of the baseball card. So, I mean, yeah, I just think, like you said, there is a time and a place for that kind of stuff. Another one. Can't believe we almost blew this because Dave has to give his guys a chance. Stop being cute and go with the guys who give you the best chance to win. Time to sweep at home. I mean, yeah, we just talked about this one a lot, but thank you for that, Joseph. A lot of fans are having the same thoughts right now and kind of the same feeling.
I don't blame them.
So, yeah. Aaron says that 9th took years off my life, but dang it, we took both in Philly. I'm over the moon. Get ready to learn chilling with Tanner Scott, Treinen.
Yeah. See, look, we haven't seen Tanner Scott at all this postseason, so like at least Dave is capable of it with some guys, but I guess Treinen, you know, is now on that list where he'll be chilling with Tanner.
I think to the other point of this, like, we haven't really seen any of the lefties besides Alex Vesia here and there for a batter to 3 batters max so far. He's really been sticking with his higher leverage starting pitchers working in relief. We saw Tyler Glasnow face the top 3 in the Phillies lineup with 2 lefties there in Harper and Schwarber. We saw it again with Emmet Sheehan getting to face Kyle Schwarber. Like, Dave is kind of going with the better options and less trusting of the guys he used in the regular season. But yeah, the Treinen one, kind of breaks from that thought process. I think he's probably thinking like the last few appearances for Treinen have looked better. So maybe he's just trying to see if he can continue to get him back on track. But I don't know. I wouldn't play around with it. And a 3-run lead there, trying to go up 2-0 in the series. So
yeah, feels like up until that going to Treinen there, like Dave had managed a pretty perfect series. Like, you know, the way what he's been doing with Will Smith, you know, what he's been doing with using, you know, his starters in bullpen roles, you know, Glasnow game 1, Sheehan tonight, like he was almost there, and then he had to ruin it by going to Treinen.
Yeah, Joanna said there was a point in the game I almost said I was starting to get bored because of how amazing the pitcher's duel was, and then Treinen happened, and Jesus did not take the wheel until Roki came in. I mean,
be careful what you ask for.
Yeah, it could have been a very exciting game for the Phillies and a 5-6 run deficit for the Dodgers or something. I mean, yeah, I am not the biggest fan of pitching duels from the entertainment sense. I know you're a pitcher, so you're probably biased here. Is that right?
I mean, I like when the Dodgers score. I don't like when the other team scores.
Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they got the win. It was a little boring until the end there, I guess, from some perspectives. But
one thing I do want to say, like, yeah, we're all crushing Dave, but I think he's been the better manager in this series. Like, we haven't even mentioned that bunt in the 9th inning that the Phillies just gave us a free out. Not only did they bunt, they also left Castellanos out there when I presume they had someone on the bench who's faster than him, considering he's super slow. Like, to not pinch run for your guy there and to drop a bunt down with no outs was insane. And that's not even the only mistake that Rob Thompson made. Like, we were talking about this, like he went to Duran when you're down 3, when he could have gone to him in the 7th inning, you know, when the bases or when the Dodgers had 2 on. I like, as bad as, you know, going to Treinen was, like, Dave has been the better manager in this series.
Yeah, 300 agreeing with you there. Thanks for the punting, Philly. It saved us. Rob Thompson has had a disaster managing so far, and
yeah,
I think for all the fans critical of Dave, you can go look over at the other dugouts and see like what other managers are doing and how much worse it can actually be. I think overall Dave has managed pretty well in the playoffs. There's been some complaints here and there, but we're not seeing them bunting, potentially tying and go-ahead runs. We're not seeing him save his best relievers until it's too late. We're not seeing him intentionally walking guys and that coming back to backfire. Like, yes, the Treinen decision was bad, and there's probably been 1 or 2 other questionable moves, but I mean, the Dodgers are 4-0, and Dave Roberts has overall done a fine job. So,
and I also think Rob Thompson has had really quick hooks on his starters. Like, Luzardo was dominating that game. Like, I know he gives up a couple hits there. It's a 0-0 game, but if you're not going to Duran there, like, I would rather stick with Luzardo for another batter or 2 and see what happens than go into some Joe Schmo that obviously gave it up. So yeah, it's been some questionable decisions, and we'll take it.
Yeah, that's what Greg here wants to know. He's agreeing with you. Why is Rob Thompson used Duran twice? I think so. Back, I forget what year it was probably like 2015, 2016 or something. Buck Showalter with the Orioles, he didn't bring in Zach Britton to a game, and he was their best reliever at the time, and pretty much every single person in the world, media, fans, everyone was criticizing him for not using Zach Britton. And since that point, I think a lot of managers have gotten better about making sure they use their best relievers instead of saving them for situations that might not come. On the flip side of that, it sometimes ends up being like you're just putting in your best reliever in a game where you're losing or already kind of out of the game just because you don't want to be the manager who didn't use your best reliever in a series you were eliminated or just swept from. So is that kind of how you're taking this whole thing, or like, why do you think they want?
Yeah, I'm with you. To me, I just would have went straight to Duran after Luzardo, like knowing that if you're the Phillies, this is a must-win game. Like, you hope to keep the score at 0-0 there, and if you're able to do that, then you'll figure out the rest later. Like, to me, that was kind of like, I know the Phillies came back at the end, but that was kind of the game right there. And at that point, Duran hadn't pitched yet, so like by the time he comes in and it's 4-1 in the 9th, like, what is that doing for you? You know?
Yeah. This one from Mark: Dodgers recipe to success: starter shoves, offense gets us a 3 to 4 run lead, and bullpen lets in 2 to 3 runs but closes it out. It's stressful, but it works. I mean, if we can skip that bullpen part, I'd be very happy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how it's been kind of going so far. And thankfully against the Reds, they had some bigger 8-run leads in there. And yeah, I mean, if they start to build out that path where you know you can trust Emmet, you can trust Roki, you can maybe trust Vesia or Dreyer or one of the lefties, Kershaw maybe we fix that whole bullpen issue there.
Yeah, these super chats are flying in, so big thank you to everyone. We appreciate all you guys.
Yeah, we've been talking just super chats for 25 minutes, and there's still quite a bit here to go. I'm trying to go in order or stick to the general topics we're on. So
I know we got some big boys coming up here, so appreciate all you guys. Bob
Johnson, deep sigh, 9 more wins. Yeah, I mean, can they go 9-0 in those wins in those games? Let's see. Joseph says, unfortunately, lost in this. Blake Snell was great again. He's definitely at the top of my list of pitchers I want in a do or die game. I mean, yeah, Blake Snell was on our list of topics to talk about, but we have been overwhelmed with super chats. So thank you all for those. We very much appreciate them. They help grow the page and help keep us all paid. And yeah, so definitely appreciate them all, and allows us to be here as much as we are after every postseason game. Have Scott every morning, Monday through Friday for you guys. Have our normal Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday shows and interviews and everything else we get. So yeah, definitely thank you everyone for them. But yeah, Blake Snell.
I guess now's a good time to talk a little about Blake Snell because he was awesome, man.
We'll pause on the super chats.
It was
a pitcher's duel.
Yeah.
6 innings, 0 runs, 9 strikeouts. I think it was the 4th consecutive game a Dodgers starting pitcher has had 9 strikeouts in the postseason. I think he was the first starting pitcher since Walker Buehler, and I believe 2019 for the Dodgers to have 6 innings and 9 strikeouts in a postseason game. So, yeah, what did you see from Blake Snell? What was working for him? What did you like?
Everything was working for him today, honestly. I mean, he kind of lost his command there towards the end. He regained it to get out of the inning, but the way he's commanding his fastball right now, and both the slider and changeup, the way they're playing off of it, he's just a tough guy to hit. Like he's hitting corners. He's in complete control. And that was big tonight just because Luzardo on the other side was just as good. Like you have in the title here. Like that was a true pitcher's duel. They were both dominating for like an hour and a half there. And at that point I was like, whoever scores first is winning this game. And Blake got into a little trouble. What was it in the 6th inning? But credit, I'm gonna give Dave Roberts slight credit here for a second, because at that point in time, Blake Treinen was the guy warming up in the bullpen. And maybe in past years, with 2 outs and Bohm coming up, maybe he would have went to Blake Treinen there. But to his credit, he stuck with Blake Snell and he got out of it. And then the offense came alive. So great outing from Blake. But like you said, we've come to expect that with him just because he's truly like one of the best pitchers, in the league. 2 Cy Youngs. We all know that. They gave him a ton of money and he's showing why.
Yeah, I mean, this is why they signed Blake Snell. They envisioned this from him. He's a dominant postseason pitcher. I think we can all say that. And he wasn't utilized to his best with the Rays when they would always make sure he comes out after facing a lineup twice. They didn't believe he had the ability to do this. We all remember Austin Barnes knocking him out of the game in the 2020 World Series, and that rest is history there. And then he had some great seasons for the Padres and postseason starts there. But yeah, the Dodgers, they probably have 3 of the top 7 pitchers in baseball. I think that's fair right now to say.
Yeah.
Like Ohtani, Snell, and Yamamoto. That's just, I don't think we've seen a rotation like this in maybe ever.
And it's crazy because Glasnow hasn't even pitched yet other than a relief appearance, and he's probably like a top 15 guy when he's healthy or so. So, yeah, like I will say, I know the Dodgers obviously won the World Series last year, but give me the dominant starting rotation over the dominant bullpen like all day long. Like the fact that they're getting length out of these guys, shortening the game, this is the recipe for success, and it's definitely working so far.
I wonder how much we'd be talking about that, though, if like the starters over the bullpen, if they didn't have 3 other starters who could step into the bullpen and kind of save them, because we'd be talking about, yeah, they got another 6 or 7 innings from their starting pitcher with 0 runs allowed, and then the bullpen blew it. So yeah. I think just that the depth of the starting pitcher can't be understated here. Like they've saved the bullpen as well. So credit to Andrew Friedman for building this rotation and just the talent and ability these guys have. It's off the charts.
And credit to all those guys for not necessarily staying healthy, but getting healthy in time for the playoffs for once, because if everyone was healthy last year, they could have had a dominant rotation as well, but most of their guys were hurt. So health is wealth.
Yeah, this one, you have the perfect formula with starters coming for 2 innings and Roki closing it. Dave just tried to show that he can push all the right buttons. I still think it was probably about just not wanting to use Roki again if you didn't have to. I mean, Treinen hasn't been good, but you can probably still hope that he can get you 3 outs there with a 3-run lead. It's not like he brought him into a 1-run lead or put him in with the bases loaded and 1 out or something. Like, it was still a 3-run lead trying to get 3 outs. And even with how bad he's been, more often than not, he's probably not going to blow that. Today was one of the ones where he did blow it, or did his best to blow it, I should say. So, like, I get it from that sense, but if you're still trying to protect Roki, like I said earlier, I would have just left in Emmet Sheehan, and he was dealing. I didn't see a reason to take him out.
And I will say in game 3, they might just have to go with Yamamoto and relievers because, like, obviously Glasnow's not pitching. Sheehan threw 2 innings tonight, so maybe he'll be ready on Wednesday, but I would guess they probably want to stay away from him too. So hopefully you could get 6 or 7 good innings out of Yamamoto and then, Vesia and maybe one other guy and then Roki, but they're going to have to trust, some of these guys at some point, unless hopefully the offense handles it and they have a big lead, so it doesn't matter as much. But yeah, at some point, things are going to get dicey and one of these guys is going to have to get some big outs.
Yeah, that might be the point where maybe you start to use Bonda versus their lefties to match up there, and then
good
one of the righties on the roster faces the bottom of their Phillies lineup with their run of righties. That's probably more going to be matchup based than putting guys in specific lanes, I think, and hopefully they can manage that for one game. But they still have the off day, so Roki will probably be fresh again, and maybe Sheehan can go an inning or something. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Jedi Engineer, props to Mookie for hanging through that tough play at third. Sliders right into him, and he secured the out. Yeah, Muncy too on the bunt. They made all the right play there. Mookie, I think he flipped over on the slide into him. So that was a tough play, and the Dodgers executed that well. That's something fans are going to overlook, but it's a difficult play to make, and the Dodgers made it look routine.
There was a lot of close plays on the base paths tonight, for both teams, and that one was huge. Like if they end up getting a guy to third there, obviously Bader gets the hit, that's a tie game. So getting that out was massive.
CP, let's put it this way. I guess most of the fans right now would rather die with Roki than sink with Robert's trash picks. Yeah, I think the thing here is we haven't seen Roki fall apart yet as reliever, so it's no one has it in their mind that it can happen.
Yeah.
So I get it from the fans' perspective. I mean, I still would have left in Sheehan. I'll keep saying that one, but yeah, I mean, Roki came in and did the job again. He's been the savior of the bullpen and maybe even the season.
Like you said a few minutes ago, who would have thought a month ago, 3 weeks ago that we'd be saying this about Roki? It's incredible.
This one for Phil. Thank our lucky stars, but this is why people say fire Roberts. I get it. Roberts is not a perfect manager. My pushback to this would be no manager is perfect. We just 10, 15 minutes ago spent 5 minutes talking about how bad Rob Thompson has been for the Phillies. And we saw how bad Terry Francona was. He said he wasn't going to walk Shohei at all because they have Mookie and Freddie right behind him. And then he walked Shohei and it came back to haunt them. Every manager is going to make mistakes. Mostly because baseball is a hard and impossible sport to predict, and you can make all the right decisions and still end up failing in them. Other times, there's just questionable decisions like we saw tonight, and we just talked about quite a bit with Blake Treinen. But I do think overall, Dave Roberts usually makes sound decisions, and you can justify them even if they don't work out, and even when sometimes we don't understand it. Like tonight, I'm not going to defend bringing in Blake Treinen, but he's overall been a pretty good manager.
Yeah, at this point, he's got 2 rings. I get, questioning some of the decisions he makes, but I think it's time to move past the fire Roberts for every bad decision. It's just not going to happen.
This one from Shelley, we won. We are up 2-0. Never would have imagined. Huge win. Let's celebrate. Yeah, I mean, they just won a game. They're 4-0 in the playoffs. They're up 2-0 in the NLDS, heading back to LA with a chance to clinch. They have 3 games to win 1 to eliminate the Phillies, who probably a lot of people considered them to be the favorites, like just to win it all. And the Dodgers are on the verge of sweeping them potentially. And we've already spent 35 minutes talking about everything that's wrong with the Dodgers. Like, can you imagine a Phillies stream right now? It's probably brutal over there.
Yeah, they get. I feel like it's almost worse for the Phillies that you make that comeback and fall just short as opposed to just kind of rolling over. But yeah, if you're the Dodgers, like as much as we've criticized Dave Roberts, Blake Treinen, yada yada yada, like they're coming home 2-0 and Yoshinobu Yamamoto is on the mound in Game 3. Like you couldn't possibly be in a better spot right now.
Yeah, so here we got a few from David, and they're very big and generous ones. They're also probably ones not a lot of fans want to deal with are here. So I'm not saying we're endorsing them or anything, but they're all from David and they're very generous. So he said, get that racist apologist off our team. Same again here. Same again there. And yeah, another big one. So yeah, I mean, I think a lot of fans in LA probably don't agree with Blake Treinen's politics, but we're not here to talk about Blake Treinen's politics. We're here to talk about the baseball aspect of things, and we don't want to dive too deep into any of that. So, David, we thank you for making your opinion very well known. We very much appreciate your super chats here and the support for us. It means a lot to us. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people do agree with you, but that's not for us to discuss. That's not our decisions. And there's a lot of fans who don't want to hear it. So we very much appreciate you, though.
Yeah.
So, Sandra here. Do you guys think Teoscar should have stayed on first base, that he was safe on third, or they made the wrong call? I love Daniel Alvarez.
I thought she was saying she loves me. Who's Daniel Alvarez? Come on.
Yeah, we can leave the end part up there. Just love Daniel. Do you think Teoscar should have stayed at first? I mean, I didn't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we can't get mad at him for not hustling and then also get mad at him for hustling. I will say I probably would have just left him at first. Like, you know, he's the leadoff guy. Like, you got Freddie and some other big hitters coming up. You know, who knows what would have happened that inning, but I'm not going to fault him for being aggressive. And I honestly thought he was safe. Like it was one of those where it's like whatever they called on the field was probably going to end up standing because it was so close and tough to overturn. But, you know, as I'm not going to get mad at him for hustling, even if he's being a little too aggressive.
Both Blake Treinen and Tanner Scott should give Roki some of their salary for the year, and Roki doesn't get faced easily. You'll see. Yeah, I mean, Roki has really stepped up and shown that he's not going to be phased by any moments. It's been impressive. I have honestly have been incredibly impressed. I was not optimistic about Roki after his first few outings with the Dodgers. He looked like he had a long way to go, and I thought he was still going to be a project for probably another year or so. But for him to turn things around and show the maturity and the confidence that he has, it's been incredible to witness. And like, if he isn't a starter long term, which I still have faith he will be, then he could be one of the best closers in baseball. Yeah. On the other hand.
Yeah, I mean, that stuff really plays up out of the bullpen. Obviously, you know, throwing 101 is great, but the way the splitter plays off of it, like, I think, you know, we don't need to get into the Roki long-term discussion right now, but he probably needs, you know, a third pitch that he could rely on if he wants to be a long-term starter. But like you said, like if this is his fallback and he's just a dominant closer, like, we'll absolutely take that.
Yeah. And Stockton, Snell was money who starts game 3. Yoshinobu Yamamoto is lined up for game 3, so hopefully another dominant outing from the Dodgers starting pitchers. I assume you have that same expectation.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously been the guy all year, and he's shown that, you know, he comes through in big games, and it's at home. You know, Dodger Stadium's going to be rocking coming up 2-0. I'm sure the Phillies are going to be a little tense going into that game. So, yeah, definitely high expectations for Yoshi on Wednesday.
Tim says Klein over Blake for NLCS World Series roster.
I know you'll support that one.
I've been the Will Klein guy for the longest time. He came up and he looked really good, and I think it was like June or July or something. And I said, like, he could be the next breakout guy. And then, of course, he walked 4 guys in a row or something like that, and everyone clowned on me. But then he came back in September, and things looked really good again. So he has dominant swing and miss stuff, and the only issue with him has ever been his strike throwing ability. And for those 3 or 4 games that he was in and kind of close it out at the end of the year in AAA, he was throwing strikes. So I think he's a guy, and I would love to see him on the roster.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, if let's say, I mean, I don't know if Treinen is at that point yet. He might have one more outing, like as a final audition. But if let's say the Dodgers are up 8-0 on Wednesday, and he comes in the eighth inning and struggles again like he did today, then I definitely think, let's say you are still lucky enough to move on to the NLCS, then you might need to think about some changes to the roster.
Charlie says Teoscar has been struggling with his fielding too this series. High stress, man. I think we could push back and say he's been struggling with his fielding for the entire year and last year and his entire career. But yeah, it definitely looked a lot worse this year. I think it's a lack of hustle and effort on defense. Dave Roberts is publicly saying it's not. He also has publicly come out and criticized Teoscar a bit for his defense. So I think it was more of he's going to back his guys mostly, but it got to the point where he had to criticize it. Yeah, Teoscar is a interesting player because he looks like he's always having fun out there and wanting to be on the field, and then he'll jog to a ball in the outfield and you'll be like, what are you doing? And then you'll see him like hug Yamamoto and apologize for his defensive mistake, and then he doesn't correct the issue. Like he just goes out there and does another lazy thing. I don't get it. Yeah. I mean,
I'm not going to lie. It's super frustrating, but I will give him credit. He has redeemed himself each and every time, it feels like. And tonight he gets that rally started, and what was it, the 6th or 7th inning, whenever it was. And then he had the second hit late where he gets thrown out at second. But as long as the bat is playing, we could deal with some of those miscues. But tonight it was actually Pages that let the ball get by him in right field today. So wasn't even Teo tonight. His mistake was, when he didn't run out that comebacker that he probably could have beat out.
I won't lie, when Pages made that mistake, I was thinking like maybe Teo has taken him under his wing a little too much. That was the thing in the beginning of the year. Like Teoscar really helped Pages grow and develop as a player. But yeah, I mean, Pages has always had his defensive issues as well, and some poor IQ mistakes on the bases, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's another one hurting him. Didn't come back and cost them too much, but yeah, the Dodgers outfield is sometimes an adventure. This one, what a roller coaster of a game. Gorgeous play by Muncy and Mookie. Lots of positives to take away from these two games and having a chance to sweep. I'll take it even though the suspense almost killed me. Yeah, I mean, like we've been kind of saying, we're talking about all the negatives for the last 40 minutes now, but the Dodgers are up 2-0. They have a chance to sweep. I don't think anyone would have predicted a sweep for either team. I don't think anyone on our staff predicted a sweep. I don't think anyone in baseball would have predicted a sweep for either team, but here they are going back to LA with a 2-0 lead, and the pitching's been phenomenal. The offense has come through with timely hits, and they've done enough to win every game.
Yeah, and I do want to talk about the Muncy and Mookie play, because that was textbook right there. They executed that perfectly, and that's, if you go to Camelback Ranch at the end of February, early March, like that's when they practice that play, and there are a couple different bunt coverages you could go with in that situation. Like a lot of the time you don't see the third baseman charging on that just because you need him to stay and cover third. So that's a lot of the time that's on the pitcher to get that ball, but usually a pitcher can't get there quick enough. So you just take the out at first. So they had that play on, and you have to fully commit to that, where Muncy is charging hard. And as soon as Mookie sees bat to ball, he has to take off to third to beat the runner. Luckily, he got lucky this time because Castellanos is probably one of the few guys that's slower than Mookie at this stage of his career, but they just executed that perfectly. Great throw, great tag, and that was the difference, because Bader gets the hit that would have scored the run. So that was huge, and they executed it perfectly.
This one for Peyton. I'm still coming down from that anxiety-inducing ninth, but we're up 2-0. I'd say there's at least an 80% chance we'd sweep now. I'm still going to say like 55% chance. I mean, game 3 is going to be basically a coin flip of a game as well.
Sure.
The Dodgers probably have a bit of an advantage in the starting pitching department, but yeah, 80% feels very high for a game that's going to be 50-50.
Yeah, I mean, the Phillies are still super talented. Like, I know their bats haven't exactly come alive, but that could change at any point. So let's hope, Yoshi is on his A game and they take care of business, because that would be great to have my old buddy Broomy here next to me if we're doing a show on Wednesday night.
Yeah. Stockton, imagine if we had last year's pen in these starters. Yeah, the Dodgers would probably go 13-0 in the postseason.
That's the greatest pitching staff of all time right there.
Yeah, that's very, very, very hard to replicate for both sides. But thankfully, they have one of them this year and had one of them last year.
Yeah, and like I was saying earlier, like I'll take the rotation over the bullpen if I have to pick one of them.
This one from Carlos, the wheel play from Max and Mook is the difference. Yeah, you just talked about that one a lot. That was very well executed play. Credit to them. The Dodgers probably work on pitching, fielding practice, and bunt practice way more than anyone else in baseball throughout the year. So, yeah, tons of credit to them there. Jay Teaser says, to be fair, Dave hasn't even touched Scott yet, so we trust guys up to a point. Treinen just fell down that list a bit for sure.
Yeah,
I agree. I think this was probably Treinen's last chance to redeem himself and show that he can be an effective pitcher for them moving forward. I just don't see how you can go back to him after this. He'll probably remain on the roster, but yeah, I don't think Dave's going to risk anything anymore like that.
Yeah, like I do feel Treinen had, earned some benefit of the doubt, like in Dave's eyes, just because he got so many big outs for them in past years, last year included. So like Tanner Scott doesn't have that same trust built up, but yeah, I'm with you. Like, I feel like tonight was kind of the last straw on that. And if he is going to pitch again this series, like just make sure it's in super low leverage and hopefully he could get right at that point, but I'm not counting on it.
Yeah. And there's a lot in the chat right now about politics and religion again. Like, can we try and all keep it to baseball? I know
we're up 2-0 on the Phillies right now. Let's just all be friends and celebrate this one.
Yeah, I don't want to go banning people or anything, but let's try and everyone keep it respectful. And this isn't the time or place for this. I know I make my political beliefs very, very apparent on Twitter and Instagram. So if you want to talk with me there about it, let's go for it. But yeah, this is a celebration place. Time to complain about the Dodgers for all the issues you hate with them, but we're going to try and keep it to baseball here, and we hope you guys can respect that in the chat as well. Hawaiian Akira says, Daniel, is the broom ready?
It's ready. The boys just need to handle business on Wednesday, which with Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound, definitely feel good. But yeah, we'll be ready.
Hawaiian Akira with a few in a row here. Was this the pitcher's duel you expected? I expected it from Snell. I don't know how much I expected from Luzardo. He's very good.
Yeah.
The Dodgers have got to him before. He's been very good in his career against the Dodgers, but he was phenomenal tonight. He made the Dodgers just look silly for most of the game. So were you kind of expecting that, or was it a bit of a surprise for you?
Yeah, Luzardo's tricky. I had him on my fantasy team this year, and I feel like every outing he's either dominant, looks like the best pitcher in the league, or like the opposite. Like he gives up 6-7 runs, looks like the worst pitcher in the league. So I was not going to lie, I was kind of expecting the latter. I thought the Dodgers offense was going to come out and jump on him early, and it was looking that way in the first inning for a second there, but then they kind of let him off the hook and he settled in from there. So I think, Luzardo does get a lot of credit. Like he was nails after that first inning, probably, earned the chance to at least try to get out of that jam in the seventh inning, was it? Yeah, the seventh inning, but Rob Thompson didn't give him that chance, so we'll thank him for that. And yeah, I'm with you. Like I expected a great outing from Blake Snell, and that's exactly what he gave.
For sure. Another one from Hawaiian Akira. Dodgers giving the Phillies hope just to squash it. Yeah, could you imagine being a Phillies fan right now? You've been a top 3 World Series favorite for the last 3 years. You lost in the NLCS, or you lost in the World Series, then you lost in the NLCS, then you lost in the NLDS, and now you're here down 2-0 after being up 3-0 in game 1, and then being in such a competitive game here again in game 2, having a chance to tie it or take the lead in the 9th, and then failing here. Like Phillies fans are a very passionate group, and I'm sure they are having a tough time right now.
Yeah. I mean, we heard some boo birds coming out from them, and I just feel like overall tonight, like there wasn't much energy in that ballpark, like especially compared to game 1. Like their fans came in all cocky, saying, they're going to give Shohei a warm Philly welcome, like all this stuff. But then tonight they're pretty much, silent from the beginning. Obviously it was 0-0 for a while, so not a whole lot to cheer about. And then the Dodgers break through. So until that 9th inning, like there wasn't really anything to cheer about for the Phillies fans. And Now they got to go to LA and win 2 in a row against Yamamoto and Tyler Glasnow, which is definitely not easy.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be feel bad for Phillies fans though. They still have the Eagles over there, and I have strong opinions about the Eagles. They've had a lot of success recently. They beat my Patriots in the Super Bowl. Yeah, Eagles fans, Phillies fans, I don't feel sorry for you. They have given me a lot of bad memories in the 2008 and 2009 playoffs. So, yeah, this is nice getting some revenge here, and hopefully the Dodgers can finish it off.
Let's not forget that my Bruins took down Penn State over the weekend too. So tough weekend in Philly.
Here from David. He apologized for his chats earlier. Series over. They can't hit the off speed. So, David, we very much appreciate your chats. We want people to come feel safe and respected here. We're not trying to cause any drama or issues with anyone, but we very much appreciate you. And if you follow me on Twitter, you know my feelings on politics and everything. So yeah, very much appreciate you, and thank you for the apology. And so yeah, Daniel, series over. Can't hit the off speed for the Phillies. It's tough.
I'm not gonna say the series over just because I don't know, one swing could change everything, especially when you got Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, all these guys. But it's hard not to feel confident right now, especially with the way the Dodgers offense, they could look bad for 6-7 innings, and then out of nowhere they could just put up a 4 spot, which in the playoffs, that's kind of how you win games. I think a majority of the time in the playoff, whichever teams puts up the crooked number in the game is probably going to win a majority of the time. And this Dodgers team has shown the ability, to do that. But hey, we're in the playoffs here. There's no counting your chickens before they hatch. You got to go and get 27 more outs and win one more game. And then after that, you're going to play another tough team. And if you win that series, you got another tough team. So a lot of ball to be played here. And let's hope they close it out on Wednesday.
Yeah. I mean, I think we'll have to be pretty optimistic heading into this now, though. The Dodgers have 3 games and they have to win 1. 2 of them are at home. It's a really good spot to be in. You have Yamamoto. And if that doesn't work out, you have Glasnow. And if that doesn't work out, you have Shohei. That's encouraging. So,
sure.
Yeah, it feels like it's 75 to 80% over, but there's still that last 20.
That's still 25%.
Yeah.
So
confident, though, optimistic. Another one from Jay. Can't blame Doc's usage, really. Sheehan was bad in the wild card. If he blew it today, would you be crucifying Doc for that move? Options are limited. I agree with this to a certain degree. You had to have been careful with Sheehan. I think I try and react not to what happened after, but the decision when it was made. So if he left in Emmet Sheehan and Emmet ended up blowing the game, I would have been I understand why he did that. Not going to criticize Dave for it. That was on Emmet. But Emmet was dealing, he got over the wild card postseason, coming out of the bullpen, nerves or whatever it was, and he was pitching really, really well there. So, I wouldn't have been critical of Dave if he left in Emmet and Emmet ended up blowing the game. I am critical of him for taking out Emmet, going to the reliever who's been struggling, and that reliever ended up struggling, and it almost cost them the game. So, I try not to rely on the hindsight when judging a manager's decisions. That's just me. I mean, I'm sure you're probably the same in that regard.
Yeah, and I do also want to account for the fact that Sheehan was bad in the wild card series, but other than that, he was other than Yamamoto, he was their best pitcher down the stretch of the season. He was nails. So I think it's different when Blake Treinen has gotten chances over and over and over again, and he's shown that he hasn't been able to figure it out, whereas Sheehan just had one poor outing, in a game that was pretty much out of reach already. So I didn't have any sort of issue going to Sheehan there. I did say man, this is a big spot, to put a guy into on the road when he doesn't have too much relief experience. But I also had the confidence that Sheehan was going to be better than he was in the wild card series. And he was.
So we got some news here, and I'm going to kind of tie all these together before we answer. Aaron asked, have your predictions changed? I smell a sweep. Before we answer that, we got the news. Rob Thompson announced Aaron Nola is going to start game 3 for the Phillies rather than Ranger Suarez, and Suarez will be pitching out of the bullpen instead. So what do you make of that decision? And do you think that's beneficial or hurtful for the Dodgers' chances of a sweep?
I think that's better for the Dodgers personally. I know Aaron Nola has had a good career, but He has not been good this year. He has not been good in the playoffs in recent years. And the Dodgers, the last 2 games, they haven't exactly teed off on the lefty starters. And I know Suarez is probably the worst of the 3, but I still think he probably would give them a better chance than a guy like Aaron Nola. I think, we'll see what happens, but I think the Dodgers have a good chance to put up some early runs on Wednesday. And if that's the case, I do like the chances of them getting the sweep. So to me, this is good news for the Dodgers.
Yeah, for me personally, I don't understand that move from their sense. I think the Phillies probably want to limit the Dodgers later in the game, but Aaron Nola is not very good anymore and probably is very beneficial for the Dodgers. So yeah, I'll update my prediction. Dodgers in 3. That's my change now. I don't know what the
Phillies
are
thinking. I'll knock on some wood over here.
Okay. Real quick, Ennis said I need to stop. I should apologize for my Patriot pandering. No, that was the best win I've seen them have and best game they've had in 4 or 5 years now. So no, I am very hyped about that. I was up very late last night watching video and highlights and everything from that game. So no. And Daniel has to be thankful too, because Stephon Diggs won his fantasy game.
I was going to interject there. Usually I give Blake a lot of crap for his Patriots fandom. He knows that over the last few years. But last night I was on the same side as him because I had Stephon Diggs in a big fantasy matchup, and he came through for me. So one time and one time only, I will allow Blake to be happy about the Patriots.
Yeah, shout out to Drake May, man. All right, 300. How about that clutch Will Smith? Yeah, so I'm going to take credit. I reverse jinxed him.
There we go. Perfect timing for this
bullying works. I said, I'm not sure why Will Smith is in the game. He looks overmatched, and his defense is worse than Ben Rortvet. And then Will Smith came in, got that 2-run hit, proved me wrong. So, yeah, credit Will Smith. I'm going to take credit for bullying.
You could take credit, but we could all laugh at you for having a bad take there, because Will Smith has shown over the years that the man is clutch. I know he's not exactly fully healthy right now. He hasn't been starting games. He's been put into some tough spots as a pinch hitter in the middle of the game, and he hasn't come through in that first at bat. But to score those 2 runs in that second at bat, that was huge. Obviously, we saw how things turned out, so they probably don't win the game without him doing that. But yeah, credit to Will. And now, I don't know if David said anything post-game, but I think the expectation is that he's going to start game 3. So, it's good to have him in there for, 4 or 5 at-bats, whatever the case may be. But I also think, and I know you're on the Benny Rowe train, but we feel really comfortable with him back there too. So whatever decision they make as far as a starting catcher, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, for sure. Daniel, no comment, but thank you for the super chat. If we missed a comment from you later or something, you can put that in again, and I'll try and keep an eye out for it. Apes against the machine. Some of these fans starting to sound like Yankees fans. I still remember the Jose Lima days. 1 playoff win in 10 years. Enjoy the ride, people. This isn't guaranteed. Let's go, Dodgers. Yes, I think that is very important, and kind of to jokingly tie this back to my Patriots fandom, I saw a very long stretch of them being very good for a long time, and then it just completely fell off, and they were a 4-win team a few years in a row and kind of a disaster. So nothing's guaranteed in sports. It's hard to maintain longevity and being good for a very long stretch over many years, and the Dodgers have done it. This team is in the clear playoff now, World Series window, and I think we all can sometimes need to take a step back and say, wow, this is maybe the best Dodger era in history. I don't think they've ever had a more dominant stretch. They'll probably win another World Series, whether it's this year or next year or the year after that. This is a special team and a special era of Dodger baseball.
Yeah, it's a great point, and it's easy for us as fans to forget. We are super spoiled with this team, and I know things don't always go our way. We get upset, but it is a good reminder, just because there's so many teams. 29 other teams out there would kill to be the Dodgers. That's a fact. So let's just enjoy it, enjoy the dubs, and hopefully they bring home another ring. But yeah, it's definitely easy to lose that perspective, and I appreciate that comment.
This one from Laura. Why would the Phillies do that? She's referring to switching out Ranger Suarez for Aaron Nola. Suarez injury. No, it is not an injury. He's going to be available out of the bullpen. We just don't know. I have no clue, no explanation. The Phillies, they're desperate and trying to figure something out, I guess. That's the only thing I can take away from it. I don't think it's a smart decision.
Yeah, I don't think Rob Thompson has made a single decision that I agree with in this series, but we're not complaining over here. Honestly, the only reason I could think of is like they gave Aaron Nola a lot of money and he started a lot of games for them, but he has not been good this year. So whatever.
Thank the maker for Roki. Where's Kershaw? Kershaw, not a high leverage option for this team right now. I think he's just going to kind of be a multi-inning guy if they need him, or maybe like a 3-run lead in the 7th type thing. I don't see him getting any save opportunities or anything like that.
I also think the way this schedule is for this series, where there's like so many off days, like you could just kind of run with the same 2 or 3 guys every game. Like they're getting plenty enough rest. So we've seen like 5 or 6 guys in that bullpen that haven't even pitched yet. And yeah, I'm with you on Kersh. Like he's a low leverage innings eater. So we'll see. Maybe if the Dodgers are up 8-0 on Wednesday, maybe he pitches the last couple innings. But yeah, I wouldn't expect to see Kershaw in like a 2 or 3 run game in the 8th inning or something. Like that's just not his role.
This one from thank you Mookie Betts 50 for joining in here. Might be more effective to talk to him in the clubhouse than going through us, but yeah, Teo confused when to hustle, out safe every time. Yeah, I talked about this a lot on our last show and then again today for a bit. Teo's lack of hustle and effort is very confusing to me, because sometimes he'll look like he's the happiest player in the world and loves playing baseball and wants to be out there. And then the next play, 2 plays later, he looks like he hates playing baseball and he never wants to be out there. So I have no clue what's going on with him. He needs to show more effort and hustle is what it comes down to for me. But on the other hand, his bat has picked them up every game so far in the postseason. My issue with that is how long can you continue to rely on that? Like you can't always bet on the bat, but you can always bet on hustle and effort. So yeah, I don't know. Teo is an interesting case.
I will say you don't have to be confused when to hustle if you just hustle all the time. I will say that. And I'm a Teo defender, so I don't want to come off as being a hater. Like me and Scott are the 2 guys constantly defending Teo. But yeah, it would be nice if he hustles, all the time. But I also credit to him that he always kind of makes up for it with the bat, which is, what he was brought in here to do. So if the bat slows down, then I would imagine the noise is going to get, a lot louder. But as long as he keeps producing, we'll let it fly, I guess.
David says 23-year-old Ohtani, who is much smaller Sasaki in 3 years, is going to be dominant. In 4, he will be a raid boss. Hopefully, that's the goal. That's why the Dodgers wanted him so badly and put so much effort into trying to get him over here. And it started out a little slow, but you can see what they were seeing and why he was so highly regarded right now with what he's doing. And now kind of imagine what he's doing right now, but over 6-7 innings here and there. Like, yeah, he has all the potential in the world. He has the potential to be, as Friedman said, the top pitcher in baseball.
Sure.
So hopefully he can figure that out and keep developing, because he is young. I think a lot of people forget that. And he is pretty inexperienced still, but the talent is off the charts.
And I also think like we were, I don't want to say spoiled, but the fact that we signed Yamamoto last year and outside of like his first outing, like he came over and just looked great from the beginning. Like it's important to remember that Yamamoto is a few years older. He was a lot more polished of a pitcher coming over from Japan. And yeah, Roki realistically shouldn't have even, come over until, he's 25 or whatever, when he could have got the big bag. So the fact that he came here basically as a prospect shows that he is, yes, he's a work in progress. He's going to get bigger and stronger over the coming years. He's going to refine his pitch mix even more. So yeah, he's far from a finished product. And I've just been really impressed with the way he's been able to stay composed, in these tough environments.
Baseball Geek says, great being up 2-0 with Yamamoto on Wednesday, but let's finish this immediately. And then thanks me for my comments about super chats earlier. Appreciate you, Baseball Geek. Yeah, I mean, I think we all want the sweep. I think the Dodgers would love to avoid having to play a game 4 and potentially game 5. They kind of need the rest. They have a lot of guys banged up. And with some other news, Miguel Rojas injured his hamstring when he was diving into third on that play. So he's day-to-day for now. Hopefully that's not worse, because their infield depth is already lacking. Muncie's been dealing with lower body stuff. Tommy Edman has his ankle injury. Kike Hernandez has had the back tightness. So this is a group that could use some rest right now,
Sure.
especially with them all being probably in their mid to late 30s. It's difficult for them more so than some of the younger guys to recover and bounce back from these things.
And that is good to know about Miggy Rowe, because that probably played into the decision to keep Edman in the game as opposed to him. So hopefully that's not a serious issue, but considering they're starting Nola, I would imagine, Muncie's going to be back in the lineup. So hopefully a couple days off, like you said, take care of business on Wednesday, get probably a full week off, I would imagine at that point. That will be really beneficial.
This one from Peyton, good news about Roki is he barely pitched this game, so teams still don't have much of a read on him. Yes and no. I think teams have so much data now, like they kind of know what's going on. They've been following him in AAA. They saw how he's been attacking for the last 5 games or whatever it's been. So yes, I think it's more beneficial that the Phillies haven't seen him again rather than like maybe other teams getting a read on him for going deeper into the playoffs or the Phillies picking something up. I mean, you were a pitcher. What do you make of this?
I definitely think it's beneficial, especially when he's like, his stuff is kind of unique. Like there's not really anyone to compare him to. On the flip side of that, I view it as a positive that our guys got, a couple looks at Duran the last 2 games. So yeah, I think it's not a huge deal, but I think it is a small deal. And obviously, you would prefer, like for example, Roki hasn't faced Schwarber and Harper yet. So if, let's say, there is a spot in game 3 where he comes in to face those guys, like it's going to be their first time. So there's data, you could look at what he did in AAA, what he's done recently, but it's not the same as being in the box and seeing 101 and seeing what that splitter looks like, which, by the way, his splitter, he might throw one splitter and then he might throw it again and it might look completely different. Like that thing kind of has a life of its own. So he's a tough, AB no matter what, but I definitely think it is a slight advantage when some guys haven't seen him.
Yeah, his splitter spin rate is so low, it sometimes knuckles around a little and you get tiny bit of that knuckleball movement on it and it just kind of jumps and dances around. And yeah, that's why people consider that an 80 grade pitch. And for people who don't know about the 20 to 80 grade scale, that's like Hall of Fame level talent right there. So yeah, that's maybe the best pitch in baseball.
And he's been commanding it, which was his issue, early in the year when he was a starter. So credit to him.
Yep. Greg says, shout out to Mookie after getting tackled at third, ran the ball towards second, so Stott couldn't advance. Same with the out at second, hustled in toward home. Yeah, hustle right there from Mookie. He's been very impressive this year as a shortstop. He's learned all the little details. He's figured everything out. He's been really great there. He's got the offense finally figured out again. It's been really nice and refreshing to see from Mookie.
Yeah, his baseball IQ is off the charts. That's nothing we didn't know.
RC says, so who are our trusted bullpen arms?
Sheehan,
Roki.
Vesia, I'm guessing best.
Vesia, yeah, maybe. Or just, I don't know. Feel like we need 1 or 2 more. I mean, you can get through a playoff series with 2 or 3 trusted relievers, especially with the starting pitchers they have. The Nationals did that in 2019 when they relied on Scherzer, Patrick Corbin, and Steven Strasburg, and then out of the bullpen, they pretty much only used Daniel Hudson and Sean Doolittle. So it can be done. The Dodgers are kind of showing it can be done. They need their starting pitchers to continuously give them 6 or 7 innings to make it work, and so far they've been doing it.
Yeah, I think when your starters are constantly giving you 6 or 7 innings, like, you don't really need to trust that many guys. You just need 2 or 3 guys you can trust, and that's kind of where we're at right now.
Carlos, Mookie's defense has been superb. Notice that he runs with the ball. Yeah, so we just talked about that one. Mookie at shortstop has, I think, surprised everyone probably. Like even the people who are very high on Mookie and figuring it out at shortstop, he's probably exceeded those expectations. So tons of credit to Mookie for the work he put in on defense and figuring out how to play the position, learning the little things, learning how to make the tough plays, and learning how to manage it all while continuing to hit and figuring out his offensive struggles. Like, yeah, this is why he's an MVP, future Hall of Famer.
Ditto.
Ozzy said, notice talking about how terrible the schedule is if you got the first place Phillies a lot of time off and if you can't get hot with the days off. I mean, yeah, this is something we talked about the last few years, I think, a bit, when the Dodgers had the buys and they got eliminated by the Padres and the Diamondbacks, and then heading into last year, there's a lot of talk about the buys affecting the teams. Then this year, there's also been the added of the extra day off in between game 1 and game 2 for whatever reason MLB decided to do that. I don't know, but it's definitely been a benefit to the Dodgers because if it was yesterday, they probably wouldn't have had Roki Sasaki available. They might have had Alex Vesia unavailable. It would have been a lot different managed game, and yeah, could have flipped the script for them.
Yeah, the off day between game 1 and 2 is super weird, but I also think it benefits the team that wins game 1 just because when you lose a game like that, you want to get back out there as quickly as possible. So yeah, I thought it was weird, but in this scenario, it probably benefited the Dodgers, so not complaining.
For what it's worth, though, Roki Sasaki said he thinks he could pitch on back-to-back days in his press conference just 30 minutes ago or whatever it was. Like, it's interesting. I don't think the Dodgers will get there yet unless they're pretty desperate. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't pitch him in game 3, I don't think, regardless of what happens. I think you just kind of want to get him reset, give him some rest after pitching so much, and then you have him available for game 4 and game 5 if you need him. I get the idea of going for this sweep and trying to just finish it out there, but you also have to be protective of Roki and you don't want to push him too much. So I think they now have a good opportunity to be a little more cautious in the game 3.
Yeah, we'll see. I think you got to go for the jugular if you have an opportunity, but it helps that he only threw 2 pitches tonight, a few more in the bullpen, of course. But yeah, we'll see if it comes down to it, similar to tonight. I would like to see them go to Roki in game 3, but I definitely understand what you're saying. Just knowing, like, if this was the World Series, it's obviously a much different story, but you still have 2 more rounds to go if you want to reach your goals. So you do have to be careful, but hey, Roki feels good, and sometimes you just got to ride that wave.
If it's 1-0 in the 9th inning, I might have a different answer here, but if it's like 3 runs, I'm probably going to shy away toward Roki and see who else. I would have trust someone else could figure it out.
Yeah, and I wouldn't go like 4 outs with him or anything like that. Like, it would just have to be one inning, 1 or 2 outs, whatever. But yeah, definitely not trying to push it too much.
So this one says Roki only pitched 11 pitches today on Sunday and 2 pitches today. Yes, but there's still the cost of warming up, throwing in the bullpen, the adrenaline that comes with it, and then icing your arm after throwing. And there's still a cost, even if it's only 2 pitches. It's not as bad as coming out and throwing 30, but it's still a stressful day on the arm, even when you only throw 1 or 2 pitches in a game.
Yeah.
G2 Greg said, a part of me doesn't want to give the teams too many looks of Roki, but I get wanting to win too. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what we were talking about there.
Yeah.
You got to manage that. You got to be careful with him, but he is your best reliever and the savior of the bullpen right now. So at some points you do need him. It's a tough thing to manage. I think Dave Roberts was trying to manage that a little bit today, and then he ended up needing Roki. So that's just kind of why it wouldn't shock me if he shies away from Roki a little bit in game 3.
Yeah, and the good thing is in game 1, he faced the bottom of the order. Today, he only saw Trey. So, like, if you're talking about the middle part of that order, like, those guys haven't seen him yet. So that's good at least.
This one from Juan. Does Dave now know not to play any relievers if we are winning, only play the starting pitchers? Hopefully. I mean, hopefully. Yeah. He's been going to Vesia a lot. It feels like every single game Vesia has warmed up and got ready to come in. And I think it's been in 2 or 3 of them already. So, yeah, he has a lot of trust in Vesia. We'll see. I still think he probably ends up using some of the relievers in a game 3 just so if he can shy away from using Emmet or he can shy away from using Roki, then he does that. But things change when you're in the moment and things don't always go according to plan. So we'll see.
I think guys like Dreyer and Bonda are guys that, like, maybe you don't fully trust them, but they're kind of the next in line of guys I would like to see get some opportunities. Like you said, it has been Vesia every game, and I get that he's the top lefty you trust. But Dreyer had a great year. Bonda had a great second half. Like, those are guys that could get outs for you too.
Laura asks, who would you rather face, the Cubs or the Brewers? Or too early for the question? Yes, too early. Who would I rather face? Probably the Cubs. I feel like both the Brewers and Cubs are very similar in the sense of I don't think they're either of like the top 3 most talented teams. I think most people expect this NLDS to be the World Series. for the National League kind of thing. Like, I don't know. I'm not really scared of either of those teams. I also say that with the understanding the playoffs, anything can happen. It's random. You don't want to see any team get hot at the right moment, but the Brewers pitching is really good. Their offense is pesky, I would say. So bring me the Cubs. And I'm not saying that with confidence because the Cubs could also beat the Dodgers because playoffs are difficult and random and no one knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, I would pick the Cubs. Their pitching is not good at all. Also, the Dodgers would get home field in that scenario, so that's always ideal. But as we're saying that, the Brewers just hit a 3-run home run and they're up 7-3 now. So they look like they might be taking a 2-0 lead tonight as well. So I think, we might be headed for a crash course with the Brewers, who, let's not forget, what was it, 6 or 7 games? They won all of them against the Dodgers this year. So they're a really good team. I know some of it is kind of fluky because they're not like mashers like the Dodgers, but they have a lot of good players. They have good pitching, and I think they're managed pretty well too. So give me the Cubs if they could find a way to flip this script here.
Yeah, the Brewers seemingly do everything well and nothing amazing kind of thing. Like, I think that's the kind of team they are. That can be dangerous in the postseason. They were, of course, the best team in baseball all year. I know Anthony is very much on the Brewers are a fluke train. I mean, it's hard to say that until we actually see them start flaming out a bit because they're not doing that right now. But yeah, it seems like we're on the Brewers-Dodger collision course, and it'll be fun.
Yeah.
So we have our last super chat now. I'm going to throw up this banner. We kind of talked about every single thing we planned on talking about in the super chats. So we'll skip all the pre-planned topics so we can get to some of your questions. It's a longer show so far. We very much appreciate all the super chats we've got from everyone. But last super chat here for now. Gabriel said, and that's all she wrote. Game over. Dodgers win, baby. 4 down, 9 to go. Go Dodgers. Yeah, I mean, like I said a lot on this show, I feel like we've been very negative the entire show, but the Dodgers are sitting here a game away from moving to the NLCS. They have outplayed the Phillies pretty much all around, and the Phillies were many people's favorites to win the World Series. So, yeah, it's been impressive for the Dodgers so far. All right. Game plan against Aaron Nola. I haven't watched him a whole lot this year. I've been very Dodger focused. I know he's not amazing. He limits walks generally well, or he has throughout his career. Not a high strikeout guy rate. Gets a lot of soft contact. I mean, what are you looking for them against Aaron Nola?
Yeah, most of the time in the playoffs, like, I think the right game plan is to be patient, get that pitch count up, get into the bullpen. But I actually kind of feel the exact opposite with Nola. Like, considering they have Suarez ready to go behind him, like, he's probably not going to be throwing 100 pitches in this game. Like, they're going to have a quick hook there. So I say go out and be aggressive, try to get out to an early lead. Hope he makes some mistakes, but obviously if his command is off, then you kind of flip the script and let's be patient. But I would like to see them go out there and be aggressive, put up some early runs. Obviously we know Yamamoto hasn't exactly had a whole lot of run support to work with this season. So it would be nice to get him some early runs. But yeah, I think Nola is a guy who tends to make some mistakes and gets hurt with the long ball. So it would be nice if the Dodgers could poke a few out of Dodger Stadium on Wednesday.
Yeah, so Aaron Nola had a 6 ERA this year. He allowed 1.72 homers per 9. He struck out 9 per 9. He walked 2.6 per 9. His FIP was 4.58. His expected FIP was 3.72. So very interesting pitcher. He's giving up a lot of hard hit contact, specifically on the home runs, still limiting walks, getting a decent amount of strikeouts. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see him. And related to that, Baseball Geek asked if Nola's an opener for Suarez. I mean, they're going to be all hands on deck throughout the game. So as soon as something goes wrong for Aaron Nola, you probably get him out of the game. And I assume Suarez would follow them. It's probably something about Suarez has more confidence pitching out of the bullpen than Nola. So they expected Nola to pitch in one of the 2 games. So now they're moving him up and trying to just get a win any way they can in this game. Yeah, I mean, I think it's benefit for the Dodgers, but we'll see. Shelley asks, will we see Scott in the playoffs?
Scott Gearman or Tanner Scott?
We'll go with Tanner. I'm going to say no. At least for the NLDS. I
Yeah,
think
I
we'll
mean,
probably see him in a longer series, but not right now.
I think it would have to be a lopsided game, either one way or the other. I don't think if the game's within like 4 runs, I don't think we'll see him.
We got a super chat. Oh wait, that's the wrong one. This one. Will be in the Brewers manager's pocket if it's the Brewers for the CS. What would Roberts have? A rice ball. I mean, if we're talking food, it's like got to be cheese related since it's Milwaukee, right?
some cheese curds in his pocket.
Yeah, cheese curds. That makes sense.
String cheese.
If we're talking about baseball related, are we talking about this is like Roki Sasaki kind of unexpected surprise type thing is in the manager's pocket, or are we
I think it's because he doesn't Rob Thompson put like pancakes in his pocket or something weird. I don't know. They've been doing some weird stuff in Milwaukee this year. He wrote a speech and said it was Bob Uecker. That was super weird. He's pulling pancakes out of his pocket, but credit to them, it's worked to this point. But let's just hope to end those shenanigans if we end up facing them in the next round.
Yeah, pancakes in your pocket. That's yeah. I would hope Dave just keeps seeds in his pocket like most normal baseball players and managers do. But I'm gonna go with the cheese curds for Brewers. Do these two wins say more about how good the Dodgers have been lately or how disappointed these Phillies have been? Honestly, expected more from them. I think both. I mean, the Dodgers are a very, very good team. We've talked about that a lot. But also from a Phillies perspective, you need the top of the lineup to do better than the 2 for 15, 20, whatever they've been in this year. I don't even know. I lost count, but I think Trey Turner and Bryce Harper have 2 hits combined, and then between all them with Schwarber added in, like it's been brutal. So yeah. I think it's a mix of both, but like that's also a credit to the Dodgers pitching staff. The Dodgers are a very, very good team that they're going to be the favorites to win the World Series after they hopefully finish off the Phillies here. And I don't think anyone should doubt them.
I think you said it earlier in the show, like the Phillies have seen 2 top 10, top 7 starters in all of baseball the first 2 games. So that's not an easy task. Like with that being said, you probably still expect guys like Schwarber and Harper to come through at some point, and they haven't yet. But let's just hope the Dodgers could keep them down for one more game, and we'll be celebrating.
Wendy asks, are the Brewers that scary? Do y'all think we have a chance even with our bullpen? Yes, the Dodgers are the most talented team in baseball. The Brewers are also a very good team. I think both of them will have a chance. That's just how the playoffs go. I think the Dodgers would be favored, but the Brewers are one of those annoying teams who just never seem to go away, and they have good pitching, and they could easily end up winning 4 in a best-of-7 against the Dodgers, even with how good the Dodgers are. The bullpen might be a little more difficult for the Dodgers to manage without the off days that they've gotten from the NLDS, so it'll be a fun series. It'll be a stressful series, I'm sure. I don't think there's going to be any blowouts or for either side, but yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm with you. The Brewers are really good. We found that out in the regular season, but I still think, we'll see what the odds are if that series happens, but I would guess the Dodgers would be favored. The Dodgers are, even going into this series, they were the favorites to win the World Series, and I don't see that changing. So yeah, it'll be a tough series, no doubt. But the Dodgers, if the Dodgers play the way they have been playing, they could beat anyone.
Blanco wants to point out the Dodgers are 0-6 versus the Brewers this year. I would counter that by saying it doesn't matter once the playoffs begin. We've seen it time and time and again for every single team, every single year. In 2022, the Dodgers beat the Padres, I think, every game but one in the regular season, and then the Padres ended up winning in 4.
Yep.
We've seen in 2017, the Diamondbacks were beating the Dodgers every single game in the regular series, and then the Dodgers swept them. I know the 1988 one with the Mets and Dodgers, that one's a popular one people like to look back on. Mets beat up on the Dodgers every single game in the regular season. Dodgers won in the playoffs. Once the playoffs begin, nothing in the regular season matters at all. And that's always why I bring up the point in the regular season to try and keep a stable mindset and not get too high or too low with every game. Because once the playoffs begin, you can throw everything out from the regular season. It just doesn't matter. It's all about who's playing better at the time and who executes. All right, this one's for you, Daniel. Do you think Kike is this generation's Robert Horry?
That's a good comp right there. I mean, obviously not a superstar, not even a star. Like, they're both role players. I don't think Robert Horry was like consistently bad in the regular season, but he did, elevate his game in the playoffs, hit a ton of big shots. So yeah, I think that's a good comp right there.
Okay, we'll try and run through some of these. Jose says, what do you think about keeping Roki as reliever? I know he was touted as a starter, but I might be mistaken. He only has a 3-pitch arsenal, which is really tough to mix for 6 innings. Yes, he's been working on adding a cutter and a sinker, so he would add that to his splitter, his slider, and his fastball. He needs to actually keep developing them, but I don't think you give up on him as a starting pitcher this early in his career. Yeah. Maybe in like 2 or 3 years down the line, you start to talk about it if starting isn't working out. But the upside for him is you look at what he's doing in the 9th inning right now and say, you're getting this for 6 or 7 innings every 5 days. Like, starters are always going to be more valued than relievers in baseball. So yeah, every reliever is a failed starter pretty much.
Yeah, I think that's probably a conversation for the offseason, not in the middle of the postseason. But I'm with you. Like, you keep him as a starter when he's young. If it's not working out, you could always, pull back and become a reliever. Like, you can't just say you're a reliever and then, oh no, we got 4 starting pitcher injuries, we need a starter, now we're going to build you up. Like, that's a lot tougher to do. So yeah, I think, we'll see how the rest of this year plays out, and we'll see what kind of offseason he has. Like, can he get a little stronger so he's keeping his velocity more consistent? Can he develop a consistent third pitch? If the answer is yes to both of those, then he's a starter, no question. But if it doesn't work out and he has to fall back to being a reliever, like, that's not a bad option to have either.
Jake, so Dave Roberts' trust tree only has like 3 branches right now. Sheehan, Roki, Vesia. Yeah, it seems that way. I mean, I can't really make a case for anyone else yet. I think Bonda could earn a spot there against lefties. I think Dreyer could earn a spot there. It's slim right now, but they have 3 guys at least. Beal, Boyd, any chance that they swap Treinen for Hurt in the next round?
I don't think Hurt is in the mix. Like, if we would have saw him at the end of the regular season, maybe, but I would say your boy Will Klein is probably ahead of Hurt on the trust tree if they're going to make a move.
Yeah, I mean, Edgardo probably an option. Kasperius probably an option.
I forgot Kasperius. He's probably in the mix too, but yeah, I don't think Hurt is an option right now, which we all are very high on Hurt long term, but considering he hasn't pitched in the big leagues all year, like, I don't mind just kind of saving him for next year.
Okay, 1-word answer here. What do you think will be more important for Game 3? Patience by hitters or flawless defense? So just give me hitters or defense. Rapid fire.
I'm gonna say hitters, but not patient hitters, aggressive hitters.
There we go. Why does Doc refuse to use pinch runners late in games to try and extend the lead? He failed to do so in the wild card round 2. I think it's a mix of wanting the defense in. If the bullpen does end up blowing it, you don't want all your pinch runners in and then taking out the better players in your lineup. I mean, Kim is on the roster to be a pinch runner, but I think it's more of you're losing by 1 in the 9th inning and someone gets on base, you bring in Kim kind of thing. So, I mean, they're 4-0 right now.
That's what I was going to say. Like, they've been ahead in all these games. Like, there hasn't been that situation where you're down 1 in the 9th and Teo walks or something. Like, in that situation, I think they wouldn't hesitate to go to Kim. But in a game like tonight, like, yeah, of course you want to add on, but when there's also a possibility for like extra innings, like, you want to save Kim in case it's like the 10th inning and a guy on second or something, then you have that pinch runner.
We'll finish it out with these 2 from Laura. Comment: great show, Blake and Daniel. Thank you. We very much appreciate it. Everyone in here gave us a ton of super chats. I think it took us like an hour and 10 minutes to read every super chat we got. So yeah, thank all of you for donating and being so generous and helping us with this show and everything we want to do. Keep growing, keep getting better, have great shows for you guys as much as we possibly can. So yeah, all those super chats and support from everyone means a lot. We have 5,100 viewers in here across Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, everything. So yeah, we've definitely grown a lot in the past few years, and yeah, hopefully we keep growing and getting bigger. We're on the push to 100,000 on YouTube. And Maddie, man, Blake, you hosted the show like a pro tonight, even though we won. This was not an easy night at the helm. You too, Daniel. Yeah, very much appreciate this. So when I first started in journalism in like 2021-ish in college, I thought there was never going to be a chance I would be doing podcasting or anything video, live show talking. Like I always hated doing the talking aspect of things, and especially talking in front of people doing these types of things, like that was way out of my realm. I just wanted to write. And then Matt kind of forced me into coming onto these shows a bit here. And even at that time, I was like, I'm still never going to host one of these. No chance. I'm just going to be on here to sometimes give my opinion every once in a while. And now here I am. So yeah, it's been kind of a crazy ride. We appreciate you all being here with us for it every time. I'm sure everyone on our staff feels the same way. I think we have a really great staff with a lot of differing opinions, and that's what makes it so fun. We're not all just always agreeing with each other every time we're on here, giving our own unique opinions, having disagreements, but there's still always like a core of knowing baseball, not just giving hot takes or trying to get clicks. Like we're trying to come here, give you the best possible show we can. So we hope you all appreciate that and feel like we're doing that. And we very much thank you all for joining us.
Yeah, Blake crushed it. The chat crushed it. Appreciate all the super chats, and hopefully we could keep the good times rolling and complete the sweep on Wednesday and then keep this going for another month or so here.
Yeah, and then Craig said, it looks like I've gone fishing. A lot of people were requesting the bucket hat, so I figured after Game 2 win in the NLDS, I'd had to bring it back. And I'm saying, I don't know if I'll bring it out for if they go to the NLCS or save it for if they go to the World Series, but I have a fun Pokemon hat I'll bring out. Yeah, I got a lot of hats, so we'll find some fun ones. But yeah, I think that's it with the questions. Scott always puts me on the spot with this, so I'm going to do it to you. What's your final thoughts to wrap up the show?
Final thoughts is let's win a baseball game on Wednesday and move on here. Like you couldn't, like even as frustrated as we were for the first 45 minutes of the show, like you couldn't ask for anything more than coming back home up 2-0 with Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound. So let's keep our foot on the gas pedal and let's bring out the brooms on Wednesday.
Yeah. So Joseph asks, is there a regular show tomorrow? I believe Jeff and Anthony should be back tomorrow. We'll double check and we'll schedule it pretty early in the day once we know for sure. But yeah, I'm pretty sure we're on for tomorrow with a live show. So hopefully you all join us for that one too. But I think that is going to wrap it up. So we thank you all for joining us, and we hope you are very excited about the rest of this Dodger playoff run and against the Phillies here, because yeah, still a long road, but they're in a really good spot right now, and hopefully they can close it out on Wednesday and advance to the NLCS and then move past that one. So yeah, thank you all for joining us. I'm Blake Williams. This is Daniel Starkand, and we'll see you.